So we can all see my screen. Let's kick off with a bit of about Damini. I have a few certifications. As a marketing professional, I'm certified. As an e-commerce operator, I'm certified. As of the 31st of December, I was able to cross 16 billion naira in sales revenue. This is not Damini's money, guys. It's sales revenue, right? So it's across people's stores I've managed, my own store as well. We'll look at some examples of my store in today's class. Even though I am heavily tilted towards e-commerce, I want you to understand that majority of what we're talking about today can work for any kind of business, whether it's a service-based business, a physical product business, digital product business, whatever it might be, the fundamentals are always the same. So the framework we're working with is called the SOSTAC framework, right? And it's a mix of analysis and then tactics or execution. Now, when it comes to the execution bit, you also need to have measures of control. How do you want to make sure that where you're putting your money, where you're putting your time is relevant? Let me use that word, right? And then, like I said, for each portion or for each break, they'll be prepared for questions, things like that. So we'll have breakout sessions. A lot of the things I'm doing today would have examples, but for some people, it would not directly hit what your business does. So, for example, I know Madam Zainab has a marketplace that she's trying to build. I know some of us have digital product businesses that are tilted towards maybe bakers, chefs, things like that. So you might not see some examples here, but during the breakout session, still ask your questions and still use these examples to kind of craft what I need you to craft for yourself. Okay, so what is the SOSTAC model? It was created by an amazing guy called P.R. Smith, I believe. Yeah, this is one of the things that we worked on a while back. And it's literally an abbreviation. So SOSTAC stands for your situational analysis, the objectives of your business for the year, the strategy, the tactics. Also, let's talk a bit about that strategy bit. A lot of people think strategy and tactics are the same thing. They are not. I want you to understand that strategy is like the torchlight. So the strategy will shine where you're going to. It show you like a roadmap that, okay, you know what, we're going from A to Z, right? We're climbing a mountain, let's call it that. The tactics is what you are using to climb that mountain. So a very good example, if you're trying to climb a mountain, do you want to get mountain shoes? Do you want to get a rope and a sling? Do you want to, if possible, even get one of those elevators, external elevator tractors that can just shoot you up very quickly, that sort of thing. Those are tactics, right? So understand that there's a difference between strategy and tactics. And then once you have your tactics, you need to execute. So the A in SOSTAC is your action plan, and then the C is control. You need to always be able to control what's going on in your business. If you can't control what's going on in your business, you shouldn't be running that business, right? So that's the SOSTAC model. When it comes to situational analysis, you look at three key things. You look inward, which is your own business. You then look at your competitor landscape, what your competitors are doing, and then you look at the external environment. In business and marketing, they say this is the micro environment and the macro environment, internal and external environment, things like that. I want you to always remember that the things that are external, so we'll take a look at that and I'll give you certain frameworks that you can always use. But the things that are external are things that are outside of your control. Keyword, these things are outside of your control. That means no matter what happens, you can't directly influence these things. These things impact your business, whether you like it or not. Okay, so you can navigate your business around those things. That's the thing. But always remember that these things are outside of your control. That's why they are external. The internal one, you have more control. So what is your competitor doing? How can you react? And then what's working in your business and what's not working in your business? What weaknesses do you have? A very common weakness that I know a lot of people have is content, right? People just don't have enough content that they can post online. and things like that. That's a weakness that I've seen happen. We first start with your business. You look in. So what are your best-selling products in 2025? If you are a new business, you do not even know what your best-selling product is. You can only assume, right? Within that assumption, live in reality, in the sense where you can't wake up and say, I want to do ₦1 billion today, and you don't have stock worth 10 million naira. The next question is, how many traffic sources does your business have? So when it comes to traffic sources, there's social media, there is your email list, there is your phone contacts, your social relationships, things like that. How many traffic sources does your business have? One thing that we used to talk about is the sales funnel, right? So that's the AIDA. So awareness, interest, decision, action, the AIDA sales funnel. If you are not pointing people into that type of funnel, people are not going to the awareness bit, people are not going to the interest bit, how many of them do you think you will be able to convert into sales or into customers? The third one is your conversion rate, right? And I think this is one thing that a lot of people assume a lot. Let me use that word. And when I say assume a lot of people think double-digit conversions are possible, especially in Nigeria. Let me be the first person, I'm probably the only person that will probably say this out loud, that you should relax. You will probably get your conversion rate to be between 4 and 8%, depending on your product you sell. But if you are a direct e-commerce business, it's probably between 1 and 3%. If you're just starting, 0.5% is not even the end of the world. You need to understand that you are playing in a space where cash is not as accessible, right, as the what you will find in the Western world, that sort of thing. So I want you to always remember that. So yeah, I have some examples. I have some examples here for my own business. Online. So this is just purely online sales. This is, I think, 19 points, probably 7 or so. I think that's where we ended the year for this particular store. I've shown you guys the average order value, which is 53,000 naira. I'm also showing the different traffic sources, right? So you can see the Instagram, you can see Google, you can see Facebook. Paystack is not a traffic source. Let me just mention that to you guys. The reason why Paystack is there is because some people just converted via Paystack. That's pretty much it. And then email marketing. I use Shopify, so I've mentioned that before. You can even look at my conversion rate. So you had a session of 35,000 people all through the year, and only 300 people converted, or 323 thereabouts. So you need to know your numbers, and this is where it all starts from. So this is literally your first exercise with your own situational or situational analysis. Next, we go to the competitor landscape, and one of the models I like to use for this is called the Porter 5 forces. This model looks at your direct competitors. It looks at what they call substitutes of products or competitor substitutes. I'll give you a good example. Let's say you want to buy Coke, right? So there's Coca-Cola as a brand, then there's Pepsi. Pepsi is a direct competitor for Coca-Cola. Good. But water is a substitute competitor of Coca-Cola. Okay, maybe water is not, what's it called? You don't have sweet water. Fine. Flavored water is now a direct competitor, right? Is now a substitute competitor, rather. Those sort of things. That's how you want to look at your competitors. Then you have supplier strength. So in your business, do you have one supplier? Do you have one supplier that provides you maybe 80% of your products? That sort of thing. These are questions that only you can answer in your business, because ideally nobody should know your business more than you. And then you have the customer side of things, customer strengths. Does your customer have the possibility of going to other places to pick up product? If they go to other places to pick up products, how easy can they reach those people? In the tech world, they like to use the word of the switching cost. So going from, and this is an example that I'm currently living actually, going from ChatGPT to Google Gemini, what's that switching cost? right? So that's like your supplier strength in a way, and also the customer strength. And what you also notice is that a lot of people use ChatGPT and Gemini, but you can't use it for different things. That sort of. So when it comes to the competitor analysis, you ask yourself these questions: how many competitors are selling similar products? So I'm going to show you some examples. Obviously, I'll pick Chicken Republic as an example, because I've been using these guys for a while and I like their referral max. But anyways, how many competitors are selling rice and chicken in Nigeria? You agree with me that there are a lot of competitors, right? Good. How easy is it for those competitors to copy Chicken Republic? It is extremely difficult. You have to pay for space in some high traffic areas, premium areas, things like that. So you can't just easily copy Chicken Republic. Yes, a lot of people sell chicken and rice, but you can see how they've begun to stand out in terms of how they produce their product or brand their products, that sort of thing. Can anyone open a store and compete directly with Chicken Republic? No. People can start a food business tomorrow. It's not hard. I once started a bakery business in a weekend, so it's not really hard to start a food business. It's hard to start a food business on the scale or at the scale at which Chicken Republic do it, right? What are their supplier strengths? Now, let me put my first disclaimer or my first allegedly. I don't work with Chicken Republic at the moment. I don't work with anybody that works with Chicken Republic, so I have no idea what their supplier strength is. But my assumption is a business that big will not have just one supplier. They'll probably have a chain of suppliers, a group of people that they work with, or a group of companies that they work with, things like that. Can Chicken Republic just raise their prices suddenly and they will still see the same amount of sales? I genuinely don't think they can raise their prices suddenly. Yes, the last time I bought Referral Max was 900, then it became 1.5. Now Referral Max, I think, is 3.1 or 3.7, something like that. And those changes, they came as certain things were happening with the country, inflation, all those kind of things. It didn't come because they were like, oh, we want to increase our prices and make more money or make more profit, right? So there's that. Threat of substitutes. If you don't want to buy Chicken Republic, you can buy Amala. You can buy Abula. There are so many different things you can buy, right? So that's a substitute. If I don't want to buy rice and chicken, Chicken Republic does not sell Amala, at least to the best of my knowledge, right? Customer strength. Are their customers price sensitive? Yes. I have a few people that they said there is no way I'm going to buy Chicken Republic before Max at 3.7. Why? I don't know if it's 3.7 or 3.1. I can't remember. But I would say that their customers are moderately price sensitive, moderately, because and one way to understand how people are price sensitive is when you have conversations with some of the target audience. If you hear things like, how much is carton of chicken? I can cook it at home, please, please, please. Those are people that you say are price sensitive. Can Chicken Republic customers switch brands very easily? Yes. You guys eat at the place. You guys eat at Mega Chicken. You guys eat at so many different KFC. You know, I can just begin to mention a few other places that we all tend to Jembe, let me call it that. So we move on to the macro environment. Now, I love the macro environment analysis because it's something that is outside of your control, but it allows you to understand that, okay, this thing is affecting me, it's affecting my other competitors as well. So how can I position myself to stand out or be different from my competitors? Okay, so that's one reason why I really, really enjoy the macro environment analysis. And when it comes to this, the framework that I always use is the PESTEL framework. So PESTEL is political environment, economic environment, social environment, technological, environmental, and legal environment. Remember, these are things that are outside of your control. And as we begin to talk about these things, you will notice that some of these things kind of overlap. I'll give you an example. In certain countries, I think in Australia, children below 16 can't use social media, right? I think so. Children below 16 now can't use social media, so Insta, TikTok, all of that. So if your business was heavily, if you are an Australian business, let's just assume here, guys, if you're an Australian business and you are heavily reliant on using social media to communicate to your audience, just like that, overnight, one policy change has disrupted your business end to end, and you have no control over it. You can't go to the government and say, "Yo, reverse that policy," or give me an advantage over every other business where I can still continue to talk to these people through Instagram. It's not going to work, right? So those are the kind of things you want to look at. Now, when it comes to the macro environment, you have the pastel, which the first P is the political one, which is probably the most important one in Nigeria. You have your import and export. One thing I was telling somebody recently is if you are in an exporting business, you are sitting on a gold mine, because the government is now beginning to support more exporting-led businesses, things like that. The new tax regulations have started to kick in. Well, they've started officially. We'll see how that goes. And then there are so many other things. With the economic analysis, you have inflation, you have purchasing power, you have currency as well. I think a few years ago, and when I say a few years, I'm talking about maybe 2022, £1 was 700 naira. Today, £1 is 1,969 naira, or 2,000, let's call it £2,000. If your business was reliant on importing goods from the UK, you can see how this affects you in terms of the economic analysis. And you have no control over this thing. You can't go to Mr. Cardoso and say, "Yo, give me £1 at 700. It's impossible. He doesn't even know who you are. Then you have social. So social is also something that is very interesting when it comes to e-commerce businesses, because a lot of Nigerians ask for payment on delivery. Even though I hate, and yes, I use the word hate, I hate payment on delivery. I'm strongly against it. And I'm ready to, keyword, and I want you to understand this, I'm ready to walk away from money once I hear people say, "Oh, do you do payment on delivery?" Like, I'm ready to walk away. I don't even think about it twice, because I just think it's it's not sustainable for businesses. That's my opinion. But again, government has to also come in and put certain things in place, and hopefully they will. But yeah, so you have things like that. You have which one of the things I've noticed is a lot of Nigerians have started to trust online businesses. I don't know if this is because Gen Z have not joined the workforce, so they now have money and they're already used to buying things online, or they want to buy things online. Millennials as well have also become very, very accepting of buying things online. And when I say online, what I'm saying is buying things from a website. What most people do, and even for one of my stores, I still see it happen, they will take a screenshot or they will send you the link and say, "I want this." So they wouldn't pay online or pay on the website. They will still come back and message you, and I don't know why they do it, but it is what it is. This is your social analysis. When you understand the behavior of how people come to these things, you then begin to plan for it or against it. So for example, cash on delivery, I actively plan against it. Like, once I see that you have messaged me and I say that, "Oh, I thought it was cash on delivery," I actually used to ask people that, "Sorry, where did you think that? Or why did you think that? Or where did you see it?" And then some of them begin to stutter because there was no thought process. You're just trying to get cash on delivery requests, right? But don't be like me, please. Customer service should always be on point. Anyways, you have technological analysis. This obviously is AI, right? So certain businesses, they can begin to leverage AI for their business. Now, there's a gray area where you can use AI in a very, very bad way and manipulate or lead people astray. Let me use that word. Make sure you don't fall into those group of people. If you're using AI, either use it to support your processes or systems, or if you're using AI to create a form of content or things like that, let people please note that it is AI. Same way, if you're getting customer testimonials that are what you call gifted reviews or gifted testimonials or gifted products, make sure that the person is like, "Oh, your brand sent it to them and they enjoyed the product." Don't position it like, oh, they bought the product, they use the product. That's illegal. Don't do that. Then the environmental one, this is one where there's a huge question mark in Nigeria because we don't really treat our environment very well, which is not good. For 200 million people, it's not good. I was at a crossover service recently, and the people that organized the event, they were so amazing. They gave us water, right? They gave us water. It was branded. And most people around me, when they finished drinking their water, they just left the bottles on the floor. This doesn't relate to business, right? But it's one of those things where I say we don't really take care of our environment as we should be. I'll give another good example. I'm not a huge fan of thank you cards. I think I've said this, and somebody called me up on it like, why? What do you mean? Thank you cards are, it adds to the customer experience. Well, for that, I have a QR code. So you scan that QR code, you come back to my website. I have an amazing message for you that you can go through. I have a post-purchase coupon code or post-purchase discount code that you can use. I've actually used that to kind of increase my, lifetime value of the customer, that sort of thing. With a thank you card, they throw it away, guys. They throw it away. They do. Don't think they keep it in their wardrobe and look at it every 2 market days and say, wow, this brand was amazing. Nope, they throw it away. So I say all this to say, in your business, how are you leveraging these kind of things? Because you can actually use it to your advantage and say that, oh, we are a earthly brand, or we are green. And that gives you an edge in your marketing materials, right? Please, if you're saying that you're green, or you are taking care of the world, or in the Western world they say be certified, please make sure you are actually doing these things, right? Make sure. And then last but not least is legal. So legal too is also a very huge problem, in the sense where I don't think we have a lot of data protection. That's a story for another day. Another thing is, how do you protect yourself? A lot of businesses, and they have this thing on their social media profile where you see no refunds, no exchanges. You don't need to. You're literally telling potential customers to go away from you, because it leaves a very bad taste. If that's the first thing I see on your page, right? So that's one thing that you have to be wary of. Also, but make sure you have terms and conditions in your business, right? I have a certain store that I manage where if you buy anything, you get your refund or an exchange within 7 working days. However, once you say you want to customize it, let's say it's a jewelry business and you can buy a Cuban chain at a certain price, right? If that Cuban chain gets customized with your name or the name of your loved one or the name of your pet, no matter what happens, there is no refund because you've customized it. That's how we've positioned our business, right? And that's how we set up our terms and conditions. In your business, do you have these terms and conditions? What does it look like? Does it protect you? And at the same time, does it protect the customer? Make sure it always protects everybody, right? And obviously, it has to be tilted towards your own business. So here's another example of what you would use for the personal analysis. Now I'm looking at a digital product business here. So the new tax laws, if you have a business name in Nigeria, you actually pay, it's the hassle of this whole tax system or situation is actually easier for business names. It's LLCs that might find it a bit more complex. But as an LLC, ideally, you should be able to afford somebody an accountant to do all these things for you. But this tax law can actually benefit you for a business in your business. It's less hassle. It's easier for you to remit and things like that. When it comes to economic, again, as a digital product, it's very difficult for you to sell high ticket products. What I've noticed is that most people that move a lot of volume sit in that space between 5 to about 20, 35,000 naira. But there are people that, don't get me wrong, there are people that move volume that sell high ticket products. There are people, but those people are what I'll call outliers. Okay? So the purchasing power in Nigeria, we know how it is, that sort of thing. So if you're creating a digital product, don't Don't say that, okay, no, because it's my time, it's my knowledge, it's my this, it's my that. You then go and price that, 650,000 naira. I'm talking to myself here at this point, but the price at 650,000 naira, and you expect a lot of people to come and buy it. It's not going to work like that, right? So sell low ticket products, make sure it's of value, and make sure it's actually more than what people pay for. So for example, if you're charging a low ticket product at 15,000 naira, let it be as valuable as a 50,000 naira product, that sort of thing, right? When it comes to social analysis, everybody's afraid of scammers online. Okay, everybody's saying a forex course or a dropshipping course or a copyright. See, everybody's just saying all sorts of courses. How do you stand out? What does your testimonials look like? What do your reviews look like? Do you have video reviews? Do you have audio reviews? Screenshots? What do you have? These are the kind of things that will let people know that, okay, I'm ready and willing to trust this business. When it comes to technological analysis, AI is your friend. Leverage these tools to make things move quicker and faster for you. Understand how they work in your own business. Understand how they improve your business. Also understand the downsides, understand the pitfalls. For example, now, if you're a content creator, you want to create content for your business, you have to be very careful when you use AI, because now a lot of other people use AI. So you can almost spot AI. There was somebody I was looking to bring on board on our team, and the boy just kept on using AI. And I was like, what's your process? Walk me through the process of how you did it. He was like, oh, I dated, and I thought about this, then I said I was going to do this, and then I said that's how I designed it. And I was like, well, this is a ChatGPT background. I was like, I just use ChatGPT to, you get me? So also understand the downside of the AI that you're working with, so that you don't put yourself in that situation and then look a bit funny, right? Environmental analysis, digital products, they're not physical products. They don't litter anywhere, right? You buy it once, ideally, you can use it forever. So that's how you stand out. This is something that I can use in my marketing material, like, oh, buy this course and have it forever. Buy this course and all the updates you get for free. Buy this course and have access to Damini for the rest of the year. That sort of thing, right? When it comes to legal, again, we spoke about this earlier. IP, intellectual property theft, is becoming quite common. People, you need to put a disclaimer, right? So whenever I talk about money online, I always have disclaimers. See, because Damini did this, it does not mean when you do it, you see the same results Damini saw or got, right? It's the same way if you sell those kind of products, you need to be careful. You need to make sure that you put disclaimers. You need to make sure that you are not misleading people in how you communicate, right? Things like that. And that's for the digital product business. Now, when you have all this, you have your situational analysis for your own business, you have your Porter 5 forces competitor analysis, you have your Pestella analysis. You take all this and then you feed it into a SWOT analysis. Now, the SWOT analysis is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, your situation analysis for your business, first analysis that we did, what are your top best selling products? What are your traffic sources? Things like that. And then the Porter 5 forces analysis, the competitor analysis. Those are your strengths and weaknesses, right? So that's your SW. Those are things that, like I said, you have direct control. That's why they are either a strength or a weakness. The Pestel forces are your opportunities and threats. If your business has been running for 14 years or more and you have never registered it for tax, 2026 is going to be an amazing year for you, because the penalties, right? You know what? I'm not a tax person, so let's not go down that road. But I pray for you that God would open a door for you. So here we have an online business. So the strengths are strong ROAS. So I think this year our ROAS was about 10. And what that means is basically for every 1 naira Damini puts for Damini got 10 naira back. Okay? Ideally, in your own business, you want has to be 3 and above. Okay? If you are running in the millions and the billions and your ROAS is 2, that's also that's very good, because you put 500K, you made $1 million back, that sort of thing, right? Obviously, you can improve on it, don't get me wrong. But yeah, so you have strong ROAS. Your customer service, what's it like? We had an issue recently where I don't want to mention the brand, but it's certain dispatch partner that is quite big, didn't deliver something for almost 3 weeks, and the customer was asking for a refund, and it was a heavy order. I'd already used the money to buy jollof rice, do a few things, so I didn't have the money. And we follow up with the customer. We explained to the customer every morning. I was waking the customer up with a message that, Mama, see, this is what's going on. I myself, I'm reaching out to these people. This is what they are saying. She was also confirming the same thing, that she was reaching out as well, and that's what they were saying. And it was a Christmas gift for her son, and she's not young. Let's call it that. So you also have to make sure that you have a customer service. Long story short, thankfully I didn't have to refund. So I didn't have to vomit the rice. Yeah. So when it comes to opportunities, like I said earlier, more people have started to patronize online brands. So that's part of your social analysis, right? Export platforms are gaining momentum in Nigeria. So that's a political thing. AI has started to make content creation way, way easier than before. So that's technological. So these are opportunities. These are things that both you and your competitors have access to. When we go to the threats, again, we'll talk about payment on delivery, which, as you also, and this is why I said that sometimes your weakness and your threats or the analysis, they would overlap, right? Inflation is still high in Nigeria, so that's also going to continue affecting. It's going to continue affecting your pricing and things like that. Then there's a lot of confusion with this new tax law. I think every time I open social media, there's somebody that is always comparing why you should switch to an LLC, why you should stay in business, that sort of thing. So it's pretty much how you want to look at this as your business. So you've looked at your situational analysis, you've looked at your competitor analysis, you've looked at your macro environment or your external analysis, which is Pestel. You take all of that and then you use SWOT to find that out. So we've looked at situational analysis. Well, moving on to objectives. Now, when it comes to objectives, you use SMART goals. I think, no, actually, Victor, if you check the group, I put the slides in the group for you guys. So yes, when it comes to objectives, you would see, or we use the SMART goals as the framework. So SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So specific, I want to go from point A to point B. I want to increase my Instagram following from 500 followers to 5,000 followers. That's specific, right? Oh, this year I want to grow my Instagram. That's not specific. Is it measurable? 500 to 5,000. I can see that measure. I can see the growth. I can see so we're looking for 4,500 more people. That kind of thing. Is it achievable? Do you have the budget? Do you have the content? Do you have the rep? If it's not you that is posting the content, you have somebody that's going to be posting the content for you. Is it achievable? Is it relevant? If you sell petrol, right? You run an oil business and you sell petrol. Do you really need to have 500 million followers on Instagram? Is that going to make the deal now? Maybe some people argue. At the end of the day, getting more people to either buy petrol from the station or how I can get the petrol to them wherever they are, because that's a sales-led objective, more relevant to my business, my bottom line. And then last but not least, the T, is it time-bound? In the sense where, is it a yearly goal, Is it a quarterly target? Is it a month? Whatever it might be. What I always try to do is I have a yearly goal, and then I split it by quarter, and then I split it by month. And because you're already doing your situational analysis, you kind of know where the things are in your business. The most important thing in the business is sales. If your business is not making sales, you don't have a business. You are a non-profit. If your business is not making sales, your business can't survive next year. If your business is not making sales, you don't have any customers to retarget, things like that. Why community is also important is because as your business grows, you want to look at your lifetime purchase for that business also growing. You want one customer, you don't want a customer that only patronizes you once and that's it. If you look at cars, most times you have people that, okay, they will come and buy another car in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that sort of thing. You want to make sure that whatever business that you run is set up in that way. If you sell, let's use an iPhone, right? So this is an iPhone 13, this is an iPhone 14. I had to buy somebody an iPhone 17. So you can see Apple is making a lot of money in my household. And this is a Mac as well. Those are the kind of things you want to understand in your business. And that's because I claim to be part of the Apple community, right? So you need to make sure that as you are growing your business, you are also having community-led goals. So what people would say is that, oh, I want to grow my Instagram following from 500 to 5,000, that kind of thing. But that's not a community-led goal. What's the engagement rate of those people that have followed you on that page? That's your community-led goal. So what I have here is increase website landing page views by reaching 125,000 unique Nigerians between January and December. Now, how I got this number, we'll talk about it on the next slide. But would you say this goal is smart? Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it relevant? Is it time-bound? You know, what will you say about this goal? The first one, increase website landing page. And you guys online, please also respond as well. Just look at the first goal, increase website landing page views by reaching 125,000 unique Nigerians.
I think it's measurable.
Okay.
It's time bound.
Okay.
I don't know if it's achievable.
Okay. You don't know if it's achievable. Okay. All right. What do you guys think online? It's specific. Okay. Do you think it's smart? So we are agreeing that it's specific. Okay. But is it? What about the other ones? Is it missing something? What do you think, Victor?
Almost smart. I think it's the time bound.
Why? You think it's too long?
In 1 year, so it's time bound. In 1 year, I think it's smart.
Okay. So you think it's smart? Okay. You guys online, what do you think? What do you think? The people here think it's smart. What about you guys online? Okay, Musa said the goal is smart. Okay. It is smart. Okay. Specific. Okay. So look at the next one now. Generate 50 million naira in sales by targeting 125,000 unique website landing page visitors and converting at least 1% of them at an average order value of 40,000 naira between January and December 2026. So you see, now, just the first one is now making it way more specific. So now it's really, really sales-led, right? And this is why what you did at the beginning, that analysis part, it then leads you here in the sense where if let's say last year you generated 5 million, this year you want to generate 50 million, do you have the capacity for it? Like, do you have the resources? Do you have the stock? Clientele? Do you have the relationship? Like, these are different questions. So this is why the goal. So last year we did 20 million online. This time around we're going for 50, right? I'm not saying this is what I want to do. I'm just giving this as an example, please. For the tax man says, oh, I'm not saying this is what I want to do, please. But so that's what makes it a smart goal, right? Then for community, this is also very interesting because you want to build and engage social media community of at least 15,000 Nigerian beauty enthusiasts. So now the reason why I've added that Nigerian beauty enthusiast is because in this example, it's a business that targets beauty influencers, enthusiasts, lovers. I would have said women, but nowadays even men are into beauty. So I don't want to step on any toes. To put there the platform, Instagram. I don't see social media, right? A lot of people will say on social media. Even I said at the beginning, build an social media community. I've been specific. What platform? Then you have the engagement, 5%. You have the engagement rate 5%. You have obviously in January. Everyone giving the. I've given you what you call engagements. So a lot of people think that likes and engagement, comments and engagement. It's all of them all together, right? And these two goals is how you drive scale, is how you drive growth in your business. You are making more money, you are growing your community. By the next year, by year 2, year 3, you are making more money because those people now in your community will also then become your customers. Now we move on to strategy. Right? And with strategy, we're going to use what I call the Ansoff matrix. Within the Ansoff matrix, there are just 4. There are so many strategy. There are so many ways to look at analysis, so many ways for you to look at objectives. But I'm picking the things that are for us small businesses that are growing. I don't want to pick things that would then just be theory and very difficult to practicalize. So with the Ansoff matrix, you have 4 key types of strategy. You have market penetration. So with market penetration, you are selling the same products, ideally to the same customer profile. Market development is, I've left Lagos. I'm now going to Abuja. Abuja people have money, so yes, I'm going to Abuja. Or let's say I was in Nigeria before, I'm now going to the UK, or I'm going to the US. That's your market development. And then diversification. I don't want to sell kaftan. I don't want to sell. I want to start selling beard oil. I want to start selling men's perfume. I have left clothing completely and I've moved to something else. Somebody that does this very well is Dangote. Dangote has sugar, he has macaroni, he has salt, he has fuel now, he has cement, that's pasta. So, and also just taking a step back and looking at some of the issues. One of the weaknesses that Dangote will have is his resources are all over the place. That's why no matter how big or small your business is, there's still going to be a shortcoming. There will still be space for other small businesses to take advantage. Okay? So you can see I've found one that most times as growing businesses, we are always penetrating the market. Most times. Because let's look at Nigeria now. Nigeria is 200 million people, over 200 million people. Out of those 200 million people, 35,000 of them visited our website, right? Out of those 35,000, 323 converted into sales. That sales converted into 19.7. This year, we're looking for how many now? 125,000. Because we already have our objective that we spoke about earlier. Generate 50 million naira in sales by targeting 125,000 in new website landing page visitors and converting at least 1% of them at an average order value of 40,000 naira between January and December. So we already know what we want to do. What's missing here is probably the location. I didn't put the location here. So to make it more smart, maybe in your own smart goal, add the location. But I can already tell you that this strategy that I'm going for this year is market penetration. If you've been selling a particular product or a particular group of products in the past and they were not working, maybe it's time for you to test a new product. So that's product development. If you decided that people in this mind, let's say you run a digital marketing agency and your audience is mostly people in Anambra. People in Anambra, do they really understand the value of the service you are bringing? If not, you move to Lagos. How do you then brand yourself, position yourself, create content, create value, create offers, create all those amazing things for people in Lagos, even though you're in Anambra? Or do you want to leave Anambra and come to Lagos? It's you. So that's market development. Diversification as a growing business, I don't see it as a good idea. I think at the beginning of this our conversation, I already tackled some people that you have multiple businesses, none of them are standing strong. So you shouldn't be diversifying. So I'm not going to talk about that. But you want to make sure that the strategy you pick directly aligns with your business goals and objectives. You already picked your objectives. It's just to make sure that it aligns with your business goals. The strategy you pick aligns with your objectives. Okay? So that's time for our first breakout. What I want you to do in this breakout is you are going to do your own situational analysis. You are going to do your own competitor analysis. And you're going to do your own pestel. Okay? And then from there, create your SMART goal and then pick your strategy. Because the next part is now where we'll start to look at more tactics. How do we then achieve this, our SMART goal, that sort of thing.